What show is this?
This is a week in review.
Are you started already?
Yes, I have, honey. I started. Good evening, good afternoon, and for some people it could be morning time. So greetings to all of you. Today is a decent day temperature wise in Maryland. We have some sunny skies here. I'm even talking to some people in Detroit. They say 36 degrees, which to them is like springtime in Miami. So we got a variety of perceptions when it comes to the weather. But today, before I kick off, I want to say hello to all the wonderful, wonderful people out there. To those of you taking the time out to watch this week in review, this edition today, hey, good afternoon. Welcome to the show. Um, First, we want to give a shout out, big shout out to our military people. Today is Armed Forces Day, as you know. It's a holiday. A lot of people in Liberia have been at home chilling, doing what they do. Many probably party last night, and some will party throughout the weekend, which keeps the economy running sometimes. When all people have to depend on is pleasure, to keep them going, that's what they do. So, happy Armed Forces Day. I want to compliment our military people. We know how tough it is to be in the military because you're always there to protect the nation. But we know they're underpaid. We know they got issues. We know there has been, um, attrition in terms of losing some of the people in the armed forces. But additionally, recently, I believe they have been trying to recruit, especially women in the armed forces, which is good. We need, a strong standing army. Um, so we just want to say thank you to those folks who have sacrificed and put themselves on the line. All the retired military people, all the Liberian American veterans and active military personnel. Though you may be over the seas, but this also refers to you. Um, Congratulations in your service, because after you leave here, you could probably help us. So today, Friday, February 11th. Oh, I want to give an early shout out to my daughter. Tomorrow is her birthday. She'll be 21 tomorrow. Officially, she'll be an adult. She'll be able to drink. So, Nyla, happy birthday ahead of time. And congratulations to, she also will be going to South Korea on Saturday to do like a semester there. And she's an adventurer. So I wish her success in all the things she does. She always wonders she's active, always moving, always doing stuff. So we look to see her in South Korea. We look to see pictures from there. Hopefully, I'll be able to go and visit her. I'm really hoping that, while she's there, and maybe the entire family may make it. I don't know. But again, congratulations to Ava too. Ava graduated from college sometime in December. I was there for the graduation. He got his first offer today. He expecting a couple more, and then he'll make some choices. So they are doing good. Peyton is in school in Michigan State, which is good. And the oldest sister, Yanita, she's in Baltimore. But we just thank the entire community, the village that helps us raise our children. We thank especially the mothers who do a great job in trying to maintain the front line. And that's why our women are so important. That's why when issues affect them, we have to stand up. And that's why when some of these messages are misinterpreted, we have to come back and relay the real message, the real intent of what we think about women and how women should be. But that will be discussed a little bit later in the show. Right now, we're about to hit the highlights for the week. Um, so key activities that happened this week. Judge Roosevelt Willie of the Circuit Court, he passed a decision in the case featuring the political leader and standard bearer of the Alternative National Congress, along with the chairman, along with the Secretary General. The chairman is Daniel Flomo-Nitin. He's the senator from Bapaloo. The Secretary General is Alasha Stowe, Attorney Alasha Stowe. They are the ones who have been accused of supposedly tampering with the CPP framework document. For those who don't know, the CPP is the Collaborating Political Parties, a collaborative established with 4 political parties: the All Liberian Party (ALP), the United Party (UP), the Liberty Party (LP), and the Alternative National Congress, of which Mr. Cummings is the political leader and standard bearer. So all of that has been happening in terms of the court case. Some have been following. Some have been following, some have not been following, but the case is there. There was an issue in terms of Mr. Cummings testifying against himself. We'll get into a little bit of detail on that. But the next high-level item that was in the news recently is the issue with Musa Bility. The criminal case against him, where they said he committed forgery, was thrown out for lack of standing. We expect the same thing to happen with the case against Mr. Cummings. It will be eventually thrown out because there's not a case there, and it seems like GOL running away from proving a case. Also in the news, Kweku Bae, our own president, he says he's a celebrity, and that's why people will write books about him. To a large extent, he's right. But then there's the role of the presidency that he's not executing. That could be an issue as well. So we'll talk about that a little bit more too. Additionally, in the news, we have the bicentennial, and that is something that all Liberians should be, excited about. And we just hope that more attention will be paid to it. For some of us, we have been pushing this bicentennial for the last 4 years. Unfortunately, the government was not collaborative. They were not serious until probably last year, towards like August, September, when they paid a visit to the U.S. and some U.S. senators said how important it was to celebrate our bicentennial. Then the government paid attention to it. But again, if you don't plan for success, most likely your programming, the projects associated with such may not be successful. But we wish the very best for our bicentennial because it is a reflection of our history, a strong part of our history. But it also is incumbent upon government to make sure there's an inclusion across the country that everybody can touch and feel this bicentennial. It needs to be decentralized. We know a lot of preparation has not been put into it because we who are preparing for it in terms of the year of the diaspora, but now it's actually called the year of the return. We looked at it as an opportunity to jumpstart our tourism sector. And we still hope that can happen because a significant number of people out there want to know what Liberia is. And the smile telling me we have not written enough about our country. We have not shared enough about our country for other people to be really interested in the beautiful land we have. But we are starting now. We'll try our best to bring, attention to this. The bicentennial is out there. There will be representation from many other countries. And I'm sure as they are leaving their shows, they will be telling their people why they're coming to Liberia. And that will be, a discussion point for a lot of people. So we just want for people to understand too, there are some issues around the bicentennial. For example, the United States House has a resolution there that acknowledges our bicentennial, commit their support to the implementation of the programming around the bicentennial. But at the same time, they are very clear that they will, issue sanctions against government officials who are violating democracy. So that's the bargain. As you request support and aid from these countries, there are certain conditions that you have to comply with, and human rights, democracy, good governance are all transparency, accountability are all aspects that the United States government expects when they're giving taxpayers money to countries that are probably less developed, underdeveloped, undeveloped. So that's part of the process that you have to comply with. Additionally, they are sending a delegation. I believe it's a 3-member delegation they are sending to the event. We really, appreciate that from the government of the United States, and I'm sure the government of Liberia embraces the fact that they are being recognized, and I'm sure we'll get huge delegations from other countries. Whether the size of the delegation is the indication of the intensity of the relationship, that's to be seen. Additional in the news is definitely the character, Serenos Semasifas. He is the Solicitor General of Liberia. He's prosecuting many of these bogus cases that the government of Liberia is coming up with. And for Solicitor General, he has really, really been in the news sometimes in a negative way. He puts forward information that definitely undermines, undercuts, compromises the case, or sometimes the cases that he's involved with. And then recently there has been talk that he and the Minister of Justice are now on the same page. So he has been raising issues or writing releases basically that he and the Justice Minister are on the same page, and saying it's just false and misleading that people will say that the minister, Frank Musadin, Councillor Frank Musadin, does not support the arrest and prosecution of Alexander B. Cummings. So obviously there may be something to that for him to put that out, or for people to be rumoring it. There may be some to it. He's supposed to take orders from the minister, but we know that he's a maverick. He would take actions that are not aligned with the general status. So we have to look at Cephas's position. He loves to be flamboyant. He loves to show off and be the center of attraction, and he has been the center of attraction for so many different reasons. In addition to some of the other activities out there with regards to rape and other things, some of the violence that's happening out there. The female police officer from the Liberian National Police who was raped by supposedly Deputy Police Commissioner Joshua. Her name is Lady Agatha Flomo. It was in the news this week. She talked about the whole issue of her case not being attended to, and if she doesn't get justice, she will kill herself. No, that's something that I think the government of Liberia should take very seriously. I don't know whether there's a suicide watch team or anything to that extent that would be that we have the system or the ability or the capability to look into that kind of issue and be able to provide support for her, because she's going through some very trying emotional times, and a rape victim, rape is really, really a very, very terrible crime, and it seems like it's condoned in our society. Many young people are being raped, and unfortunately, the outrage that people, have for cherry picking situations is not being directed at those real situations of rape. So sometimes we wonder where are our people's minds when these things are happening to our women, to our young children, and they're not taking principled stand against this. They're not taking consistent positions against it. Sometimes the action towards it is very selective. So we have to continue to raise the issues affecting our women, from rape to sexual and gender-based violence, to sex for grades in schools, to sex for jobs in the workplace, to sex for promotion, to discrimination in the workplace. Just the same job a man and a woman at the same level can be doing, but most times the man pay is probably double the woman pay or way more than her pay. So those are things that issues that women should really be advocating for. Unfortunately, sometimes because of the level of literacy and critical analysis, limited critical analysis, independent thinking that exists in our midst, our people tend to be influenced, by other people and what they say and what they think, rather than their own perception or their own experience they use to analyze situation and be able to make decisions. So we are in a tough place where many of our people don't understand the rights, they don't understand the direction. Um, Sometimes some of the comments are funny. They don't understand rights, they don't understand the direction, and they need help. So it's incumbent upon all of us to find ways that we can provide insight into these major issues that affect our country for many of our fellow countrymen to be able to understand and be able to, move along with us. Oh, the other important thing, the CBL is printing these new notes. I think what is the total amount? Like nearly $43 billion will be printed, and we have 4 billion before. And a lot of people said they didn't see any of the notes. Now there's another, $4 billion that are coming in the country. That actually arrived in the country already on, I think, February 2nd, and they were all new, $100 bills. Hopefully, the financial system will be stable. The mutilated notes. There was a report not too long ago with government burning those notes. So we'll see what the replacement. I must say, got some old notes I have to turn in. Hopefully, it will be accepted. Checking my phone here. Also, we know that the marketeers, their location, whether it's Omega, whether it's Red Light, whether it's Douala, has been creating some congestion, and that is still happening in areas, especially in the Pennsville area, where the attempt was made to relocate the marketeers from Red Light to Gorbachev Market, Red Light and Gorbachev Market to Omega. But Red Light is still being congested, as many of the marketers have returned there. So whatever that reason is, it's probably need to be looked into, because there's a constant kind of back and forth and cat and mouse game with with those people who are, intent on selling the markets in those areas versus the police and the city of Pennsville trying to restrict them. So there need to be some serious conversation about that to ensure that the marketeers can be situated properly and the congestion can be decreased, because there's a significant amount of congestion. That's why we're excited about the market in Douala. The unfortunate thing for those constructions of markets and some of the internal roads that are being built is that those are opportunities for people to siphon money, to launder money from the government. And, we don't see any serious audit in this government, especially since those 4 auditors died. It's like nobody wants to be an auditor anymore. We just hope that the constant function of government can still go on, regardless of the fear that exists and the threat that exists for people who want to do things the right way or be transparent in what's happening in government. Additional news: the budget. The House has passed the budget with all its imperfections. And just so people know, the yeah, but the picking guy black belt, so we'll see. Yeah, it will not be like basketball where nobody touching him. So when he can, test his skill, you might not bring a whole EPS with him. Yeah, that's a joke with me and Augustine Bala. So The budget was passed in the Senate. They concur with the House. The budget is about 786 million. We are waiting to see the final stuff, and we'll still be breaking it down so people can follow the progression of the implementation of the budget. Once the budget is passed, it's law. So all those amounts that are allocated there by law, they're supposed to be used for the purposes indicated within the budget. And we know sometimes there are changes. Different things can occur that can cause things to change around or redirection, reallocation, or whatever of funding and stuff. Those things happen. We understand that. But when a budget is so shrouded in a way that it doesn't get to the people, there's no real trickle down. Everything is at the highest level, and our people are not benefiting from our own taxes. And also on the revenue side, the taxation will be huge on people based on how they expect to get this funding and how they expect to generate the revenue desired to be able to fund this budget. So there's a lot for this coming year that we'll go through to see whether there will be success in generating the desired revenue. We'll see what the progression is. Hopefully, LRA can be reporting consistently on their monthly generation for us to know how they're tracking. Hopefully, there will be outturn reports. That means outturn meaning whatever expenditures and whatever revenue will raise, government will report those. There has always been this issue of transparency and accountability in government expenditure and government revenue generation. We don't really get that, but we have to keep talking about transparency and accountability because that's the only way we can get there if we consistently talk about it and push for it to happen. So, we appreciate the budget being passed. Hopefully, some of the needs of many of our people can be met. As right now, many of our teachers, many of our medical personnel, and many of our other civil servants don't feel the impact of government's revenue collection. It is important for the citizens to feel the benefit of the economy. And a lot of times, it's not happening in our country. Other things in the news. We talked briefly about the criminal court Judge Roosevelt Willie ruling. We also talked about Musa Ability case with Martin Kola, how they were accusing him of forgery, criminal conspiracy, and criminal facilitation, but that has been kicked out. Also, the case with Dillon. Musa Ability, I believe he sued Dillon for libel. And the case will be probably starting to be heard next week. I guess Musa felt injured in terms of the utterances from Darius Dillon, and he turned them libelous and slanderous. And hopefully, he can get his just due in a court of law. And he has consistent ability himself, has consistently said he respects the judicial system. I'm suspect about it. It's good that he respects it. It works for him. And hopefully it will work for him in this case. It has worked for him just recently in a case against him. Now he has a case against somebody else. So we'll see how that goes. Another issue that was in the news is the passing of the ArcelorMittal deal. I think that deal has a lot of issues in terms of potential lost revenue. But unfortunately, the Senate again has concurred with the House to pass that deal. Even Prince Johnson himself came out against that deal. The deal is iffy. He said they're passing it with potential corrections, and those have not been made. Even though so many citizens, especially from Nimba and Grand Bassa, were protesting that. I believe Prince Johnson did not go to session. He had a press conference protesting the passage of that bill. Yes, the U.S. government has said, they think the passing of that bill is in the right direction. I'm not so sure. If you look at the numbers, where uh, the real revenue potentially, the impact of it, the potential loss revenue, the ability of ArcelorMittal to be able to store people in terms of other, mining companies or other people who may want to use the railroad is very high. So we are, hesitant to say that is, but foreign direct investment is good, but it has to benefit the people, especially the areas that is being exploited. It's not like you can put that iron ore back in the ground when they take it out. No, it's gone. And what is the environmental protection for those people? What is the economic potential for those people? How would the communities be after 10, 15, 20, 25 years of ArcelorMittal? So those are the kind of questions that concern the people, and those are the kind of questions they don't have answers for, or proper answers that they expect before the government can renew a deal. We'll get a little bit more detail into that particular ArcelorMittal deal, because it's an extension really, and they have not, completed the current term of the concession. So you have not completed the current term of the concession. You have not reviewed the concession to see if the complaints by the citizen are valid or not, but yet you are moving towards adding additional years onto it. So we'll come back and break that down a little bit. We're about to take a little break for a few minutes, so we hope you'll stay put and be ready to join us when we come back from this break. So lower sound, because this little brief, how should I say, this branding of the show on the video, the branding video is very loud. So lower music, lower Thank you. Thank you for staying with us. We are back. This is the weekend review. Today is Friday, February 11th, 2022. It's Armed Forces Day, in Liberia, where we celebrate our military for all they do for us. It's been wonderful knowing military personnel, knowing many people who have made sacrifices, but we also know the military has been a tool that has been used in terms of coup d'etat, in terms of harassing innocent citizens sometimes. So there's like a bitter and sweet kind of disposition towards the military in Liberia. But this military, we hope that based on the training they received, the reformation of the military, and now under Prince Johnson and Ziaka, we hope that that leadership would take this military to a different level. And some of the compliments that Prince Johnson had received in terms of being a simple man, in terms of not trying to take some of the privileges that other officials take, whether it is and one of the impressive one was not putting on his serene to run through traffic. I've somebody posted an image of him one time just driving through in heavy traffic and not trying to impose his will. And I also saw him another time in the same situation, and that's very something that you can commend somebody for. It's very commendable that a person who could misuse or abuse the use of siren that he has refuses to do so. So we appreciate people like that. So we'll just take this last 15, 20 minutes to go through some of the issues where we can dive a little deeper and touch on in terms of what happened this past week. So we look at Judge Roosevelt Willie's decision. When we look at our Constitution, Article 21H, I believe, and I'll try to find it here and read it. 21H actually focus on the prohibition of double jeopardy, right? The right to examine evidence and witness, the right to a fair trial, the presumption of innocence, and the right to a public trial. So I will just read what Article 21H says. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or infamous crime, except in cases of impeachment, cases arising in the armed forces, and petty offenses, unless upon indictment by grand jury. And in all such cases, the accused shall have the right to a speedy, public, and impartial trial by a jury of the vicinity, the area where that person is, unless such person shall, with appropriate understanding, expressly waive the right to a jury trial. I mean, they don't want their peers or other people in the community or in the area to be a part of that. They leave the decision up to the judge. That's when they waive the right to a jury trial. Then it continues. In all criminal cases, the accused shall have the right to be represented by counsel of choice, to confront witnesses against him, and our Constitution is all masculine. It's all about him. No her inside, no she inside. So we just got to bear with that because, again, that is the culture. That's some of the stuff that affecting us as a people. So I'll read the statement or the sentence. In all criminal cases, the accused shall have the right to be represented by counsel of his choice, to confront witnesses against him, and to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor. Okay, so you, as an accused, the people who want to testify against you, you have the right to challenge them, to question them. Your lawyer can do that, or if you're pleading for yourself, you can. And there also has to be a compulsory process for you to obtain witnesses that can also, you know, testify for you. Because sometimes, and you guys know in our society, so many people will know the truth. For example, right now, the truth that George Weah talks about women loosely, people run away from that truth, and some people don't want to say it. But many people are announcing it on the internet and sometimes behind closed door. So there will be a situation where somebody who could actually, if they were telling the truth, can make your case for you and testify for you would not want to testify. So there has to be a compulsory mechanism to force those kind of people to come testify. In addition, now, as we continue, he shall not be compelled to furnish evidence against himself, and he shall be presumed innocent until the contrary is proved beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, that particular phrase is what we're targeting on in Article 21H. It refers specifically to this case with Mr. Cummings. We have a Solicitor General who believes he's probably the class clown or something, who will come out and just talk about Mr. Cummings as criminal Cummings, XYZ negatively, as if to say he has already completed a case when he can't even provide his own evidence that he asking the judge or has asked the judge to violate Mr. Cummings' right. So it's just sad that we have, a constitution, we have documents, but we have lawyers and we have prosecutors and we have judges that will reframe the actual intent of those documents to suit the situation. In my mind, that's criminal. Seriously. It's criminal to do that. It's criminal to prejudge a case. It's criminal for the Solicitor General, who should be upholding the law in the country, to come out and label and accuse as a criminal, as if the verdict has been passed, the individual has been convicted. That in itself is wrong to the highest level. So we'll come to some of the questions. We'll go through them. Some people are asking some interesting questions. But the judge needs to revisit his decision, which may not be even possible, right? But at the end of the day, you look at the evidence in this situation. You look at the document being requested, and the fact that the defendant has already made it clear that no such document ever existed, nor does it exist today. We follow the timeline. We tried our best to share that in a post to rebut some of the nonsense that Costa was coming with. And I should look for that post and share it again, because it's important that people understand some of these things so they are not being misled, because a lot of people don't understand the sequence of events that happen as this case progressed with regards to the accusations and the documentation around the CPP. So let's see if I can find it. I did a post on Facebook a while ago, which detailed a lot of this with regards to timeline. So just to give you, and this is kind of high level because there could be more detail. There could be, and once it comes to investigation, there will be more detail. Like I said, that so-called original 5 signature of signed by 5-person framework document never existed, and this is why. On May 19th, when they were signing that framework document, they were not co-located. I mean, they were not all in the same place. It was done on Zoom. because they were actually avoiding that being in the same location because of COVID. So they could not be there. Yeah, normally I'm in the kitchen. So they could not, but I'm not cooking. I can burn water up again. So I know you depend on a cook. So they did a Zoom signing. And we can share that Zoom signing. But at the end of the day, when they completed that particular Zoom signing, they share the information. Obviously, you share it to the public. And what happened? Immediately, they had a clause in there about all jobs will be prioritized towards the CPP membership. As if to say other librarians don't exist, other librarians are not qualified, other librarians are not technocrats or competent people who could hold positions. So there was a huge outcry. Immediately, they decided to look at alternatives because the outcry was huge. The Liberty Party, the Unity Party, the ALP, all of them, they immediately reached out to their lawyers. Unity Party sent that particular document to I think his name is Benedict Sanum, Councillor Benedict Sanum. He was, I think, our justice minister before. And these are credible lawyers that these people use, Justice Sanum, Kavina Jane, Kofi Woods, and a few other people. Okay? He sent a feedback right away, May 21st, May 22nd. So you understand the particular sequence, the beginning of this thing? People signed document on the 19th. By the 20th, there was a huge hala behind the document. And they signed that document. Each of them did just a signature where they were. They were not, none of them were at the same location. So it was a ceremonial signature. So at no time did all of them sign that document. At no time did they sign that document, because once people started raising an issue on that document, they went back to the drawing board. And my beautiful wife behind me, folks. They went back to the drawing board. They had to look at what was happening, what issues people had with the document. So immediately, nothing else was signed again. It was now, let's send a document to the lawyers. Let the lawyers look at the document. Okay? So when those lawyers started looking at the document, there was back and forth. And at that time, by that time now, so let's just step back a little bit. At the time of the signing, Bernard Ure was the chairman of the CPP. After the signing, it was a turnover to Mr. Cummings. But Bernard, who was the chairman of this particular signing, he never handed any documents over. No record keeping whatsoever. No trace of him handing, say, oh, this is one letter I issued during my term. None of that. Okay? So now with this documentation sent to the lawyers now, the lawyers started looking into it. Now this was May 19th. So by June, the lawyers, smart people as they are, sent an amended copy to the National Advisory Committee of the CPP, and they put that copy in a chat room. And they also have a separate document with a 10-count issue that they raised with the document. These are respected people. They testified to that. They said it, that they revised the document. Then the CPP called a lawyer, or called the lawyers. They called all the leaders. They had a meeting to go over the amended document and approve it, right? So, like I said, no signature were applied to that first set of documents. But this revised document, after it was approved, the designated Mo Ali to go around to the different CPP leaders and their chairman or whoever was the additional signatory to sign. And that was the signature page that was used to attach to that revised document, along with the resolutions. After that meeting, all 4 political parties were asked to put together a resolution that the National Executive Committee approved that particular document in this whole CPP relationship. So along with the resolutions, along with the signature page, along with the revised framework document from the lawyers, those documents were notarized and then submitted. So, for people to be here crying all day long, putting up false information about this framework document, it just is disappointing. It's very, very disappointing. And we, as people, we who understand some of these things, we need to be able. My mother-in-law behind me. We need to be able to be honest with ourselves and honest with our people, and send them, educate them any way possible that they can get this. Let them understand the real issues. This is not one person trouble. This is a national issue that if we let or if we allow it to just go, we are in trouble. We are in trouble as a country because the essence of democracy is being tested here. And if we cannot, as a people, stand up for the right thing when it comes to democracy, we have problems. We have a lot of problems. And when a country democracy is shaking, that's that's something serious. That's something very, very serious. And we need to understand that as a people, our democracy is not entrenched. It is still growing. It's not at a place where we can feel comfortable that everything is right. That's why it is very important for us to focus on these issues of democracy and be able to talk about them, be able to have conversation, be able to, how should I say it? Be able to conscientize our people that what you see now today, what is happening, is wrong. And that's why those who are in this system and wanted to stay and want our people to be ignorant are intent on crucifying innocent men, on validating bogus charges that they know are just not true. Okay? You sign a document. You did not sign the first one, you signed the second one. But to just come forward and say so, you are so off base. When I posted the post I'm telling you about, many of my friends in the other side of the opposition, the CPP, were crying. They came in my inbox trying to make a case. But what case can you make when you can't present the facts to the public? You make a baseless accusation from August 2021, a baseless accusation. And you say somebody altered something and changed something. And anytime somebody changed something, that means there's an original that you can look at, and you can look at the changed document. Okay, so you said the changed document was what was filed with NEC. The NEC has provided that document. They share that document. It's clear. The document is there. Show us what was changed. The lawyers looked at it. The lawyers' document is the same as the NEC document, except for some alphanumeric, like 1A change to 1B, or A change to alphanumeric and Roman numeral I or something. So there's no change to the document, but yet we have people making it a criminal case We have a government whose sole intent is to destroy the CPP, making it a case that they just found criminality in something with no investigation. The government cannot demonstrate 1 minute of investigating this issue before finding it serious enough to bring a charge against Mr. Cummings. And that is a total violation of democratic principles. You know, the paper trail is there. The messages are there. The chat room message, the email message about the back and forth of these documents and everything like that. The submission of the resolutions, the Moali going around. He himself has said he went around and got the signatures. So at what point are we honest? At what point would this system change if we, the people, cannot be honest with ourselves and share it and share the truth and talk to the people? So, folks, it's very dangerous when democracy. Hey, I'm a big Kota. He said I should move it. While people can still share the link. Anyway, Kota, I know you won't be a part of this show. At some point, you will get your time. But I will remove the banner. Just for you. So now my name can show it. Okay. Thank you, Kota. So it's sad. It's sad that this system is fighting change. And really, folks, we need change. If the current government can enact the change, fine. That would be wonderful. If not, we need change in governance. We need a better Liberia. That's what we should all be driving towards, a better Liberia. You know, like I said, we'll come back to the comments and we'll give some people the opportunity if they want to come on, you know, for them to come and make the case that we are incorrect in terms of what we're saying. So it's very important that people understand this progression, this timeline regarding, you know, this framework document for the CPP and this bogus case that has been brought against Mr. Cummings. It's just unfair to him, you know, that these things are happening. To a large extent, a common year for nominee, the fact that the CPP could not resolve this in-house says a lot about the level of respect and trust amongst its leaders. But nominee, if it was a conspiracy, which I believe it was from the beginning, to eliminate, you know, Mr. Cummings' position in the CPP, there's nothing he could do about it. He tried to be as transparent as he was during his leadership. Jomli came there, she laid big egg. Boga came there. What have you seen from the CPP since Boga has been a chairman? In my opinion, nothing. He made promises. He said he would reconcile the CPP and make things right. We can't even see the first effort in that direction. Hey, Napoleon Sosu, what? We don't need no military government in this country, man. The man said we need the AFL to take control of our country before the election. If not, we'll go back to the 90s. I don't know if that's a solution, Napoleon. Seriously, we shouldn't be seeking those kind of solutions in a democracy. If the people who understand where the country needs to go make the effort and work to educate the other people who don't understand, they can go to the ballot box and make that decision. Now, it's a different thing if there's some fraud in the elections or people want to cheat during the elections or other stuff like that. But in terms of the AFL taking over before, I'm just in total objection to that, you know, kind of mindset. So hopefully we don't focus in that direction. Let's use the democratic process. Let's use all the tools of democracy, whether it's protest, whether it's demonstration, whether it's marching, whether it's rallying, to show what our real concerns are, how we want this country to go. Okay? So I hope people understand this sequence of events. I hope they understand how fraudulent and bogus this case is. I hope they understand how the fact that our Solicitor General, who should really be holding up the emblem of justice in this country, is trying to use social media and propaganda to stain Mr. Cummings and make it look like he's already a criminal when he has no ability to prove this case. It's very pathetic, and I hope we wake up to some of these issues and these different schemes and machinations that folks are trying to perpetrate on our people to mess their minds up about all of this stuff. So you can go to my post and really see the full details, because I didn't want to drag you date by date on this whole framework document. But suffice it to say, we filed a document with the NEC that has the signatures of all full political parties and the witnesses. It has the resolution for all full political parties that they are committed to the IDs of the CPP, and they have the signed the signature of all the different representatives. So it's just sad that at this late stage, some of these folks, trying to find a way out and can't, are using the court system, the judicial system, to hold up Mr. Cummings. And from my perspective, I think they were just trying to slow the momentum. If people can be honest with themselves, they obviously saw the work that Mr. Cummings was putting in. Him listening to some of the accusations or some of the claims from different people, that the people don't know him. He's not connected with the people, and he was reaching out to the people. There's nowhere in Liberia that Mr. Cummings cannot go to meet Liberians. Mr. Cummings will be willing to go anywhere. He engages groups small, and his thing is not about big crowds, because sometimes big crowds, you don't engage the people directly. They don't get a fee for you. You are more removed from the crowd. He will deal with small groups. So for those interested in engaging Mr. Cummings on any level, and he is actually looking at the engagement from the different kind of demographics that exist in a decentralized way. He doesn't have to get all the shushan ball in one big field for him to engage them. No, he will engage them based on their location as it comes. So the opportunity for people to engage him is there. So you can reach out to the party headquarters, or you can reach out to his office, and the opportunity will be there for you to engage Mr. Cummings. He's very open. And contrary to a lot of things where people say that the man is arrogant, they know the man is just somebody who is focused, somebody who is determined, somebody who understands what he wants, and that's what he's going for. And he really, really wants to make a difference. So if we can understand that passion for change, that commitment to change, that desire for real change, then we lost on this, then it's just the same old. Oh man, come on, Nominee. The dialogue was there. He made every attempt, even the visit that he had with Vice President Boyka in Ghana. That was to dialogue about it. That was to try to find a way forward. But it's gone to the court of public opinion, it's gone to the legal court, and it is what it is. So a lot of times when we are remiss in resolving things among ourselves, or we are not committed to being able to make those decisions, then that will happen. I don't know about that, Seattle. It was your personalized autograph copy of. Now you can label the book Infamous. The book is a famous book. The book is a very good book, Seattle. And we'll be making our tours, to different locations, hopefully, to engage people and to do book signings. So, just expect that. So we deliberated on that particular issue with regards to the framework document, with regards to the wrongful decision by the judge, where a fundamental principle of law, what we just read in our Constitution, the portion of 21H, and I want to read it again so people can understand the false argument the judge is using that because that organization on trial is an individual, is very clear. He shall not be compelled to furnish evidence against himself, and he shall be presumed innocent until the contrary is proved beyond a reasonable doubt. That is so clear. It's crystal clear. I mean, I don't know what kind of interpretation you can bring around that to change what the meaning is, what the relevance is. So hopefully, people will wake up to that and understand it, that if it happens in this case, your case could be next. Somebody could accuse you of killing somebody, and they'll go to court and say, "Oh, judge, the man killed a man with knife. Let him go bring the knife." And the judge will say, "Go find the knife." You now, who know you probably didn't even kill this person, will have to go find a knife that you say, "Oh yeah, we did never kill a person with." How stupid is that? How stupid is that? This is a document that doesn't exist. Never existed. There was never 5 signatures or 4 signatures of all parties attached to that original framework document that was produced and shared with the public on May 19th. Nothing like that existed. So for people to be talking about it now is crazy. All right. So also this week, Mr. Cummings again, regardless, you see, that's the thing. The man is focused and committed. Regardless of the situation that's happening, Mr. Cummings made it his business to go out there. As you all know, Mr. Cummings is, a recognized entrepreneur, a recognized business magnate, a recognized corporate professional. So he understands the plight of Liberian businesses. He understands the false promises made by President Weah that Liberians will not be spectators in their own economy. And he knows what it takes to make somebody a player and a participant in the economy. So he's been reaching out to Liberian businesses. He's focused on seeing how he can make a difference for them. Hey, Maxwell, sorry, the book will on back order, your book coming, yeah? I beg you. Brother definitely will be in Minnesota, because we got to let the people there know who may have some delusions about the content of the book that is not what they're saying. But let me go back to where I was. We'll come back to all these questions here. So he visited Camp Johnson Road, which is a serious, business district. He visited Johnson Street, and he visited parts of Broad Street. And that's to show our business people, our small businesses, our entrepreneurs, that he's very interested in what they're doing. He's trying to understand the pain points. He's trying to understand some of the hindrances, some of the roadblocks, some of the limitations that affect them as business people. Yes, we can all say we don't have a nurturing environment that exists in our business culture. Grandma, how you doing? You were there on air. Everybody know you now. So our business people need help. Our business people need some support. And a lot of that support basically should be natural, should be organic, should be from the government, in terms of creating the environment, in terms of providing some level of access to capital, in making sure that the step from being an individual to trying to be a business is not difficult, is not convoluted. Then maintaining your business, having a simple tax structure, having a simple way to operate is critical. So those are some of the things that Mr. Cummings will be looking at with the business community. I'm sure there will be forums to invite people to have some of those discussions, because our government has had some of these discussions. Huge, numerous recommendations have been made to them from the business community. They had our economic forum, but there's no intent to find real solutions to our problems. So they will do these cosmetic things and then lay them to the side. That cannot be the case. That is not how we grow our economy. That is not how we empower Liberian businesses or make them an active part of the economy. So that has to change. No, Solomon, I will not forget about your question. We'll come to the questions shortly. The last portion of this past week is our own President Wegube. Breaking Bad got invited to a crusade in Painesville. So you see, Breaking Bad on a crusade, the Zogos, then they didn't go there. Then they stabbed it. But instead of trying to focus on the word of God, I always say he's a fig reverend anyway. But instead of trying to focus on the word of God and whatever message he had for the people that day, he used his bullet pulpit to talk about him being a celebrity and that people only talk about celebrities. No, sometimes celebrities run their mouths. They tell their own business. They put it out there. They talk about themselves. And that's how people who are interested in the stories around those celebrities will collect that information and make it public. If you are nobody will talk about you. For him to give credit to where that phrase comes from, those young men who are singing that song, he do it or he make it look like their own. So, where you are somebody, we all are people, and you are an icon. You have been a celebrity, but now you are president. You need to run this country as a president with responsibility and obligation to your people, ensuring that you are doing the right thing. Unfortunately, you are focusing on the bling bling and the enjoyment rather than the leadership, rather than driving the country in the right direction, rather than ensure that those disadvantaged people that the CDC claimed they were here to save are actually being saved. So there's a lot. There's a lot that you as president have to correct and do. Well, question, you're a celebrity, you're popular. That one, nobody can argue that. The popularity of Joey Alasmodi. No, that's not it. But the rubber has met the road. You have been successful in your quest to become president. What are you doing to bring difference for our people? How are you changing the lives of our people? The president, those are questions. What are the issues you are speaking on? What are the issues that affect our people that are close to your heart? So you really, really need to, wake up and address those. And, we'll be here to remind you because we feel that's part of our responsibility. We did that for the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf government to keep them on course at the time we were with the CDC. And we'll do it in this opposition. We're not ANC members, and we'll do our best to ensure that things are on track in this government, that our people are looked after, and today, especially our women. They are our disadvantaged population. Those who are struggling to make business, our market women, they are not fully empowered. How difficult is it to elevate some of these people from market women to importer, to wholesaler, to distributor? They can be taught, they can be elevated to that level. But all those levels are occupied by foreigners. We give them that license to just treat our people anyway, to disadvantage our people on the economic side of the country. That needs to change. We have to find ways, smart ways, efficient ways of empowering our people that they can be an active part of our economy. So let me go through some of the comments that people left and see what we can touch on, what we can touch on. The man cost, then we'll not touch it. The wealth cost, we'll not touch it. So Augustine said, I've been talking a lot. Augustine, see, being the chief of staff for Mr. Alexander Cummings, they have me on lockdown. I can say what I want to say, So with the freedom I have now, I got my own platform. I can say what I want to say. I can say that as an ANC member. I can say that as an individual. So that's just what it is. It's freedom of speech. Even though sometimes your job can curtail how much freedom you have. All right, so Salomon Garcia says, the question is not related to the discussion today, but I want to ask you a question about the book. I received information that you and Emmanuel Clark and he said told President Weah about publishing a book, and he said no and told you people that he will give you both 2.5 million. That is not true, because you're mixing two things up. Initially, when we reached out to President Weah, because I talked to him personally about the book, he just missed it. We actually wrote him a letter. They never responded. We sent copies to McGill and other people. They never responded. But recently, I just heard Emmanuel say on the air the other day that somebody in government, whoever, offered him 2.5 million or whatever amount, and he refused. But now you saying, but because of greed, the two of you said $5 million US, and President Weah refused. How true is this information? Again, like I said, it's nonsense, Salomon. It's a total joke. Not everybody can be bought. Well, you asked the same question twice. Again, it's not true. Nominee, I'm not cooking anything. We're just having a discussion here. Bertha Stewart says the government and individuals from the CPP are witch hunting Mr. Cummings politically. Opposition who sold their souls to the government broke up the CPP. That's why ELP has no party except for the family members. I don't know about that. ELP probably has some members. I guess they still got Chema Momo who's filing a lawsuit. Well, you might just say you can put it anyway. It was established that like the alphanumeric numbering of certain sections was changed from like 1, 2, 3 to ABC, or 1, 2, 3 I, IV4, V5 changed to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah. Brother, 9-year job backstabbed the CPP. I think it was more than that. Not just the 9-year jobs, but people wanted to be vice presidents. People wanted to have certain level of relevance. So that's why they did what they did. Napoleon said, please don't call fake. You say, I'm not calling him, but you read the name? Okay, I will not call you. He's not important. He and his corrupted JMB and Uri. Yeah, this person is saddle, but if a book was written on Liberian politics, the CPP would look like amateurs. You know, on that, I don't know if they would look like amateurs, but it would look like a meteor that just flamed out. And it's just smoldering right now. Is there an opportunity to revive it? Maybe. But a lot of people feel like it's a lost cause. Somebody sent me a message today, that the CPP should just dissolve so everybody can maintain their, integrity. Because if one person leaves, who has a major stake, because he's primarily talking about the UP and the ANC, the people will blame them, because to a large extent, the people did really want the CPP to sustain, to stay on, to be a unified opposition. But some people, I would say some people, I would say the Unity Party crew, they felt that internally the competition didn't favor them. But if they go into the bigger space, they have a chance of coming second. And, that's a possibility. But have a discussion about it. Have dialogue, like nominee said, dialogue. I believe you can always come to the table to talk. You can hold your firm position and say no to certain things. That's okay. But be able to come to the table. Be able to discuss the issues. That's the maturity that should be established in our democracy, in our politics, that we can talk about these things. So it's very important. It's very important that our political leaders are able to come to the table and discuss, even when they are in vehement opposition or disagreement. There should still be a chance to talk. But this mindset, sometimes I can't talk to the person, I can't work with the person, and all of that. It just doesn't work, So we look at Elvis Prosper. Democracy is a form of government where a group of stupid people get together and elect another stupid people. Damn, Elvis. Some people agree with you. All right, Sir Johnson, I'll send you the link right now for you to join the show, for you to tell me, or for you to make your case why you say I've contradicted my explanation. So, this is specifically for Sir H. Johnson Sr. I sent in the link for him to join the show. Complete Witch Hunt. That's from Sela Afui. Nah, I hope I pronounced your middle name right, Sela. That's a beautiful name, though, Afui. Normally, Yoba. I responded to you. Yes, oh, Sela, the system is fighting back. That's why I think I need to find that song there. The system's shaking. Play it for you. Prince Jala. Okay. So I don't know if you'll be able to hear it or not. So you guys gotta tell me whether you're hearing it or not. You're not hearing it. I'm trying to find a song. System shaking. Maybe I'm trying to download it. Okay, just tell me whether y'all can hear this or you got the system shaking by way. Oh. You see? We're hoping for CPPO. Unfortunately, I want the system shaking. My people, the system shaking, We want to the kitchen. System shaking. We want to the kitchen, but in that one listen. The system 40. My people, the system shaking, We want to the kitchen, but in that one listen. When they're killing people every day, then the system shaking. Work up crying for salary, then the system shaking. You just working hard for no pay, then the system shaking. When the children sitting on the street, then the system shaking. Got back to the hall and nothing doing, then the system shaking. Then the system shaking. The system shaking without suffering. When they feel people benefiting, misusing our resources, are the thing they're doing. But we will kill a cigarette, yeah, that's carpentry. If you are aware, to go then, yeah, that's zombie. But women say, I know they will stop. Come and see to the system, but everybody doing job. Women say, everybody doing job. The kids of CBB coming, but everybody doing job. I say, if I talk, I say, everybody doing job. True, Edison, everybody doing job. Because the system shaking, no pussy character. Because the system fighting, no capacity. Because the system shaking, you go to jail. Because the system fighting, corruption that waste. When they're killing people every day, then the system shaking. Work crying for salary, then the system shaking. You just working hard for no pay, then the system shaking. When the children sitting on the street, then the system shaking. Got back to the hall and nothing doing, then the system shaking. Then the system shaking.
It is what it is, man. Yeah, they can come from Monserrato, me pass over anything. I want you to listen, cause Liberia is our only country. Selling people making this funky yellow shit. I want you to know that it's fit. They too wicked, they can get. But everything coming finished, coming out of record set up. So, the men are money eater. He treat everybody equal. They have in the future, he not there for citizens in the suffer. They say hope for cheap, but now he's there we can see. He will cook up platform, still pulling that light. You can go for the investment. I hope you understand. Oh, the few blood is bringing lies with propaganda. I call them what them blow. When the social grow, when we coming, everything said will be set. We enjoy our rest, the system will be fresh. Yeah. When they killing people every day, then the system shaking. We're crying for salary, then the system shaking.
Soon we coming to Conlefa Zulu. She has a good question.
The system shaking. When they killing people every day, the system shaking. We're crying for salary, the system shaking. We just working hard but no pay, the system shaking. When the children sitting on the street, the system shaking. Go back to the hall and nothing to it, the system shaking. The system shaking. I hear that video.
All right, so the system is shaking. The system is fighting back. The elements in the opposition who are part of this system, part of this status quo, and wanted to be as is. So some of them have left and kind of combined with the CDC. It's obvious in, Bernard Ure, in Costa Actions. They are all regime collaborators right now. They have migrated in that direction. And over the last couple of months, they have not demonstrated anything that represents a semblance of being a part of the opposition. So we are left to only believe that when they can demonstrate otherwise, we'll consider them opposition. Now, all opposition don't have to be together, agree. But there are certain tendencies that people in opposition have to exhibit to demonstrate that they are true opposition versus being surrogates of the government and carrying out acts of the government that undermine the efforts of the opposition. The opposition is not one homogeneous group. We understand that. People can have different line of thought in terms of how they see the country, how they see, their leadership would be different from other leadership, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, we all want a better Liberia. And if the opposition is supposed to be that policeman, that albatross around the neck of the government to ensure that the government goes in the right direction, then there should be some uniformity in terms of their relationship and how they work towards, bringing about that change. So we just hope that the opposition can wake up, because it's important, that the opposition work together. Otherwise, the fears that many people have could be realized. But the one thing that everybody should realize is that even if the CPP will not get to 2023, October, I believe the 10th, that's when the election date is, you as a citizen will get to that point. And you as a citizen should be a part of the democratic process. You should ensure that you vote and that you participate, and that your vote represents the change that you want, the direction you want the country to move in. If you believe that President Weah has performed, that your life is better, that, the future is much better for you and your children, sure, it's democracy. Vote for President Weah. But if you believe there's another element, another person, another individual, an opposition figure that's on the ballot that can fully represent you and bring about the change you want, actually work for it, not just take it for granted, because we can sit there all day and talk. Change will not happen if we don't do something. You have to do something. You have to work towards something to generate it. Then you vote for that other person. So that is really simple, but letting our people understand those qualities and those characteristics that they need from their leader, not necessarily to be a celebrity or, whatever other people or Beku calls himself, but substantive. Focus on making a change. Focus on the bread and butter issues. Focus on creating a difference for the market women, the petty traders, the small business person, the student, the young men and women who are coming into their own and need to create opportunities. The reality, government can create the jobs, but government has to create that environment that other people can create the jobs, they can attract the foreign direct investment, they can bring businesses to bear, and not make it an issue of bribery and extortion for people to do business in this country. So it's just out there. So Gonle Pase, Isaac, you work with Cummings. What was your advice to him when you know the political territory compared, when you know the political, I guess it means more, compared to Mr. Cummings? Well, the terrain has a lot of traps, and sometimes you can avoid it. Mr. Cummings, and somebody had asked a question similarly, why Mr. Cummings didn't go to court to sue Bill and other people who lied on him rather than wait for them to sue him. Because Mr. Cummings really wanted the CPP to work. Mr. Cummings felt that though many in the CPP had negative news behind them from before, but if they work together and they focus on the ideals that they are setting going forward, they will be able to make that difference, to be able to, have an impact on the country. Unfortunately, that has not happened. And the head of the CPP is also, based on the consensus and the VPS and the primary that also will be held, that person will be elected. The head of the CPP most likely will have been the next president of the Republic of Liberia. And the people in the Joe Boyka camp really want him to be. The people in the Cummings camp really want him to be. But unfortunately, the people in the Joe Boyka camp don't want to compete. They felt infiltrated maybe, they felt compromised, but they had complete support of the ALP for whatever that is worth. They had some support of elements in the Liberty Party, Yomdi Kanga and others. What happened? They ran away from the competition. They tried to do everything to remove Mr. Cummings from the competition. Mr. Cummings is a tough individual. He's persistent. He wants to lead, and he believes he can make that difference. So why should he second himself? No, he can't. He's a competitor. And so it was an open competition that the folks in the Unity Party should have come to the table with to compete. Unfortunately, they are the surrogates who in turn are surrogates of the government, decided to sabotage the CPP and go in the direction they went. Let me see. Sela Boyka will not say a word because you is fighting for him. All he wants is president or primary. My Boyka didn't tell Mr. Cummings from day one. Boyka will be president, you become VP. And Boyka said that Mr. Cummings wouldn't have joined the CPP. And that's part of the ridiculousness of the CPP. If they came together and drew up that framework document that, with all its flaws, it still presented a way for people to compete to be the standard bearer of the CPP. So was that all a joke? To take all that time to be in an organization to get to that point and then you dismiss it? That is sad. It's really sad. So they really need to rethink. Napoleon, if the justice system is corrupted, we cannot go to elections come 2023. The only way we can have free and fair elections is to have AFL take over. Hey, man, you still coming with anything again? Yeah, seriously, Bertha, the folks in the UP really consider the CPP to be a coronation of Joseph Boyka. And when they realized that there was a competitor in the CPP, they did not know how to react. And therefore, they started first with, what do you call this stuff name? Block voting. Block voting. Where you not hear block voting in the country for people to do block voting? If you wanted block voting, how will you set up a document that talks about delegates, that talks about voter perception survey, that will feed information to the delegates so they can be able to make a conscious decision about who they want to be the standard bearer for the CPP? It doesn't happen like that. So, it's just sad, man. It's really sad that people cannot hold on to their words. They don't want to compete. They just want things given to them on a silver platter. And nobody is here to just deliver something on a silver platter. Work for what you want. Earn it. Yeah, brother will be coming to Minnesota with a book signing. Achimo will be coming to Philadelphia too. Oh, Napoleon, thank you for buying a copy of the book. Bien Kamara, what's up? How are you? Musa Keita. You think if the document show face or comments will be free? Musa, there is no document like they're asking for. This whole thing is bogus, a smoke screen. They never signed that document, collectively. Immediately after that document was produced on a Zoom signing where each person signed where they were, the Wahala came behind the document, they ran away from it, they sent it to lawyer. So there's no document that exists with all the signatures of the witnesses and the four primary political leaders at the time. None. Solomon, sometimes it's more difficult to operate smaller groups. Your point about four political parties cannot resolve the problem have about 4.5 million people. Yes, it's possible. There are a lot of unresolved problems within organizations, within smaller groups of people. So that cannot be a barometer or measuring stick to say because that cannot happen. So it can happen. There you go. People not come with a job business again. So this takes research. All this information takes research. Adria Lavetta. Okay. There's no page 13. People haven't even read the book and they're talking. So I don't give even any time of the day. Nominee, y'all got too much expectation for Weah. He's not capable of addressing issues in an issue action format. Simple. He thrives in gossip-like conversations. So you see, that I'm you. That I'm saying I want that somebody else saying it. Okay. And most of y'all know the president thrives on this say and gossip and talking. So where you running from? Solomon Garcia says, you are more mature than other opposition. Many insults were thrown at you relating to this book, but you continue to discuss the issue with respect and clear explanation. Yes, Solomon, we have to do that. At one point too, though, I was very upset because there were some people who were in the cheering squad, able to influence public opinion, talking about they should arrest me and stuff. I didn't commit any crime. I didn't do anything. So for some people to want my head, especially in a country with no rules, where people just disappear, people just die. I mean, people could only see the amount of appeals I got to get out of the country, at the time, because many people had some earlier warning that they were after me and my life was being threatened. They wouldn't even be talking some of the nonsense they're talking. But what can we do? I'm issue-oriented. For me, somebody cussing me anything, somebody cussing my mom, they cussing my wife. What does it mean? What does cuss mean? Can it take anything from me? No, it cannot. So why should I get upset or get rattled because somebody can't cuss my mom, cuss my pop? When I used to be in the cussing business, I don't think any of the people can handle me. But is it worth it? No. You can come in my inbox and cuss my mom, cuss my wife, cuss her. It doesn't mean anything to me. All right. So thank you for that comment, Solomon. You're right. Some of our people who are supposed to be literate, you can hardly understand the writing. They really, really need to improve. All right, so this is a great question. Will you take cultural reservations under consideration for future work now that it is clear Liberians are not comfortable talking about sex? Nominee, that's some of the idiocy of what happens in our country. That about all these young girls are getting pregnant. We need to change that mindset. Our culture cannot stay stagnant to the point it's a detriment to our future. So while I agree with you, that you got to take some under consideration, discussing sex and sexuality, and bringing some things to the front. So because they can't and discuss sex, so that's why people just rape people and things just go the way it goes. No, it shouldn't be that way. It should not. We have to grow. We won't get the essence of the Western thing, but then the key important thing that we should talk about: the rape, the abuse, the use of sex as a weapon, the use of sex for everything, grades, jobs, promotion. And we should just be silent? No, we can't be. Well, Augustine Tamba, you say protect our women. I hope you have the right outrage when Christine Dennis were flogged by Darius Freeman, and he left the country, and today he comes back in the country and is being using police escort to get him to whatever he placed there in Broadville. Where's the moral outrage? Where's the moral outrage for the 13-year-old who was sodomized, raped, and killed and killed? Because that's murder. Where's the moral outrage? The police woman that was raped. Where's the moral outrage? The murders that have been happening. Where's the moral outrage? The young man recently, whether he was part of the sodomy, he was sodomized, his tongue was cut off. Where's the outrage? The 7-year-old girl at the embassy in Abuja. Where's the outrage? Come on, folks. We can't be this pretentious. We can't be hypocrites like this. We can't say because some of you like President Weah, then you're supposed to hush up and be quiet about some of the wrongs that are going on. No, we'll talk about it. It's a discussion. Women, why are you being pretentious? The man who talk about his wife, you're not calling him to book. You're not holding him accountable. But the person who tell a story after asking other people, come on. He's a celebrity for sure. But that does not give him the right nominee. I'm not looking at your replacement suggestion. You need to stop. You're a bad boy. Oh, Seattle, you giving the Adria mom Lovetta hard time? She running away from you? She crying? I should tell you bad, then she be in the public space. So you see, I gave people the opportunity to come on this show and make the case. Let us debate where they say I'm wrong. They refuse to come. They refuse to come. Interesting. Yeah, so Salomon, I'll be careful. Yeah, thank you. Seattle, why worry? Many of these people can't even express themselves, but they want to write. They want to insult. It's just sad. Yeah, well, the president will make us busy. As long as we continue to love Labrador, we'll be busy. Yeah. Salomon, I'm trying to be a good person. I'm not perfect, but to a large extent, somebody here, they won't leave. They've been here from the beginning to the end. They say you don't have viewers, 23 people watching. Yeah, maybe on the line you watching, 20 people. We'll share this to multiple channels. So multiple streams are getting, hits. So 23 people here, 25 over there, 10 over there, 15 over there, that adds up. But it's not about how many people watch it. It's about the substance of what you're imparting and who is going to watch it eventually over time. It's not necessarily live because some people are not available. Some people are busy. They're working, So it's not just about the numbers. Even though everything we do, we want to drive it to numbers. Let me see. Jimmy Down, no hate here. Oh. You can believe it or not, no hate here. Yeah, Bianca Mara, that's true. You know, and somebody I had that discussion earlier today. There are times when you are making effort to see how you can help Liberia, where it's like, am I wasting my time? You know, is it worth it? Should I do this? And this was a young comrade talking to me today, earlier. And this is somebody who has been really committed to trying to make a difference. It's just the way I see it. You may get those moments where you want to say, "Let that bro go to hell, man. Let me go my way." But when you interact with some of the young people and you see the hope that some of the children have for the future that they could get to if opportunity were right. I mean, I don't think that many people out there are smarter than our children. I really don't. We have some very smart young people. And if we can create opportunities for them to be successful, we should. Every which way. Whether athletically, whether academically, whether economically, whether socially. Because social media now itself is a business. How you can promote yourself on social media and people on social media, it can gain them significant revenue. So we need to find ways that we can help all segments of our young people be able to integrate into different sectors and be successful. They are just as smart, they are just as competent, just as skilled as any youths anywhere else in the world. We just need to help them untap their potential and be able to exploit it for the benefit of themselves, their family, and the country. Man. Bianca Mara, I hope I acknowledge your comment now. Augustine Tamba, again, the CPP may be dead, but that does not mean when they go to the second round, an opposition figure cannot be the one that people rally behind. Right now, it's very clear that Joseph Boakai wants to run independently. Mr. Cummings wants to run under the CPP banner. The CPP may not be there. He may have to do it by himself, and which is a possibility. And I'm sure that will be an alternative plan that he and his people will try to, work on and decide. As a member of the ANC, I will try to provide my input as much as possible because I believe in Mr. Cummings. So hopefully it happens. Yes, I believed in 2017 that we would have done the right thing, that we would have surrounded himself with the right people, that we would make the right decision for Liberia, that we would try to be hands-on. It didn't happen. So am I supposed to die because somebody failed the people? He failed what I believe in? No, I'm not dying. I'm still Liberian. I will still advocate. Well, nominee, I don't know about your own conclusion. About all the CPP leaders have shown their real hands. They want power by all means. I don't know what by all means mean, and therefore, so they should be excluded from choice. Coming from you, I'm disappointed. That's sick. Yeah, nothing wrong with people looking at other leaders and giving them consideration. But who really can move the country forward? I still really believe that Mr. Cummings is the best option. Okay. Until that belief change, that's my belief. That's what I stand on. Monique, what Monique say? They underestimated Alex Cummings. When they realized Alex was a force, then they started with black voting, I believe, and documents temporary. Liberians, I think if there's any, you has it. That document does not exist. Monique, not if there's any. It never existed and it doesn't exist. No, I don't. I try. Look, my man, I try not to be cursing people. It's not good to curse. I promise to curse the people on Spoon because I was pissed off when the discussion was had that they were supporting somebody on the show was supporting arrest and there was not enough people talking. Many of the people on Spoon are my friends, like long-time friends. Tomlin George, partisan. Francine, you know, Castro become good friends since like 2011. Ben Sanvi, Azedora Mapigin. The only person that is Spoon recently, I met Spoon. And Spoon was very instrumental in raising alarm and everything like that. But just to hear what happened on Spoon TV with regards to requests for arrest and other stuff, it definitely pissed me off. That's why I told them face to face when I count the show, I will cost them. And I still plan on waiting for me to the show. But that's up to them. You know, when you're upset, you're upset. This minor Warren Brown. Isaac, how do you think the CPP going to play out if JMB decides to back out of the race? Apparently, it doesn't seem like he's interested in the presidency. Well, to some people, he's not interested. But I think Joseph Boyka is the passive-aggressive type. He may not show his real feelings and stuff, but he got some little steam under there that he operates on that kind of fuels him. And I think as much as many people think he doesn't want to be president, which could be true, but the people around him believe that he is the ticket. He is the one to carry them. So they will always convince him and push in that direction. And you know, you can't change that. That's what they want. That's what they believe is their path to, you know, success. So you got to respect it. Oh, Salomon, you Andrew's son? Nice to know. Wonderful. I wish I had Andrew. I haven't talked to him in a long time. Hawanatu Mansare. Ame, Hawanatu get your Pepe Subo nominee. Munin Keshen, President Weah needs to apologize to his wife and the Liberian women. He discussed class to his friends. At the time, they were boyfriend and girlfriend. There's lots of videos on social media with girls discussing President Weah's sex life. That's a fact. And I don't see even an outrage from some of those videos where women discussing women. Why? It's okay. I mean, the hypocrisy is huge that people think the way they think. Oh, man. Angela Rose Doe, thank you. I appreciate it. Share the news. Share the link. Talk to people. It's not about, you know, the numbers that on now. No. It's about how can we, you know, get this message out there to people. So, folks, I want to say thank you. We started here since about, wow, we nearly went 3 hours. You know, I didn't even know I could talk that long. To be honest with you, I didn't know I could talk that long. But hopefully, you know, no, it's been 2 hours. 2 hours. Yeah, man. Go start about 1. So it's 2 hours. I don't think I can talk for 3 hours. It's supposed to right here. Okay. This guy, John Boone, says, what's your take on the number games? Most people, including myself, who have witnessed Liberian politics, know very well that Cummings doesn't have the number to win. As you can see, Boyka has the numbers. John, I disagree with you. Okay, maybe a year ago, I'll be close to where you are, you know, but with the situation right now, I don't think, you know, if there were the only two running for president, Joseph Boyka and Cummings, I don't think Joseph Boyka will win. I really, really don't. There are so many disadvantages that Joseph Boyka has in a competition. You know, Sierra putting me down. She said I can talk plenty. There are so many disadvantages that Joseph Boyka has in going head to head with Mr. Actually, anybody in the opposition, they are a disadvantage in terms of competence, in terms of network, in terms of potential ability to reverse this negative situation in the country, in terms of you know, leadership experience. It's just clear to me that, you know, Mr. Cummings is the individual, you know, given what we know now. At the point where we didn't know, yes, we supported, you know, current President Weah, because we really expected him to demonstrate that love for people that we thought we had seen over the previous years. that connection with the people, to utilize that to make a difference for the people. But look at our youths. Look at our disadvantaged youths. Look at our criminal youths. What has we have put in place to make a difference for those people? Maybe one sustainable, more unsustainable program where they try to rehabilitate 500 people. Ellie and them failed. Julia Bryan and failed in the rehabilitation of these people and the reintegration of them into society. Those were some of the key points we hammered on in opposition. What has been done since? What is the status of people's lives today compared with what it was before? They're behind. Jerry Sumo, we got more books. Part 2 is coming on. Let me give you a highlight of part 2 of this book. And nobody must steal it. Anyway, the librarian put in that writing set, so I don't worry about them stealing it. If they won't steal it, it's fine for them. All right. Because at the end of the day, it's an open world. Competition is good. People will go for the better quality stuff. So the next book coming out will be, and this is just a placeholder topic now. This is not title. This is not the real title of the book. It will be George Weah, an analysis of the administration of Liberia's football president. George Weah, an analysis of the administration of Liberia's football president. This book will be deep. We bring in a prologue that will take parts of the last book, the Rise to Power portion. It will talk about Weah's wealth, his income issue, his taxes, whether he was actually wealthy coming into the presidency or not. You know, if somebody made $86 million their whole life, what are $86 million at the point in 2017? We talk about the exuberance around winning the presidency. We talk about, you know, the election result at the time. I believe it was December 28th. You know, we talk about that initial euphoria. We talk about how the Liberian people actually decided to rally around George Weah. We talk about how they built the team, the leadership team. We talk about the internal fight for power. We talk about the race to sudden wealth. When we saw Magadan say they're taking loan for 100,000, 200,000 to get a new house. We'll see all the constructions. We'll see how people came from rags to riches. We'll discuss all that. Then we'll talk about the cheering squad. The Liberians who can see no wrong, especially some of the seditionists who they get an organ a different name, but I can't, because those people are interacted with. I will not label them, but just their blindness to what the real issues are sometimes, it just leaves me, in a different state. Then we'll come to the president's men, those people around the president, again, the infighting, the backstabbing, some of the appointments that were made, the disconnect between people in leadership, the president's own preparation for this office, his engagement with President Sirleaf prior to election, after election, and where the power is in this country today. Then we'll talk about the actual inauguration, his speech, the details around it, the promises he made, the early days again, some of the bogus concession, the Eton concession, the Iboma concession, some other attempts to go out there that were kind of disrupted. We'll talk about the $16 billion. We'll talk about the $25 million on map-up. We'll talk about how it affected the economy. We'll talk about investors coming in and the level of extortion that was being used on the onset that discouraged many investors to turn their back on Liberia, even Liberians who brought investors in. We're talking about running the government. Where is he running his government from? Is it a Jamaica resort? Does he go to work? Is the country running on its own? Is he just focused on enjoyment, being a celebrity rather than, and running this government? He'll focus on it. Again, the consistent team here, there's a lot of in-house fighting. The fight between the party, Molu, the fight between the government, McGill, that Molu-McGill, dynamic that's there. The level of impunity these guys are operating with, the violation of just so many different laws, the attempt to, get people to spin the narrative, the lobbyists, the money they spend there, the different bad governance things that are happening, the murder, the corruption, the the different schemes, building market, building roads, that in order to generate funds. We'll talk about the rape, the sexual and gender-based violence. We'll talk about, some of the characteristics of not only we are, but Liberian men in general, to talk about women, our relationship with, concubines, baby mamas, the extramarital stuff. We bring in our culture, our society into this. We'll talk about citizenship and dual citizenship and how the benefits are there, how the negatives are there as well. We'll talk about, the economy, concessions. We go back into governance, human rights. We talk about legislature, how rubber stamp they have been, just stamping everything that put in front of them. We talk about our own weaknesses in terms of leadership, in terms of decision making, from Wabuleki that he couldn't fire. This man was a Nigerian man, to all the other people that have been called for fire, have been called for corruption, that he returned them to work, or he would, ignore the thing in totality. We talk about this bicentennial, how important it is for us as a nation, how it could bring nationalism and patriotism into bear if utilized in the right fashion, if it can be decentralized and everybody can touch a little bit of what this, bicentennial is. Then we'll talk on the international scene. How have we as a country moved on the international scene? The kind of scandals that we have seen, the passport center being, or the international corruption being a transshipment point, using donors' funds for the wrong reasons. So there's just so much that we can talk about with regards to this government, in regards to how we want to see our country. Kamenyan's sexual harassment scandal, Kamenyan's wife being declared recently persona non grata in the diplomatic world. So there's a lot that we can talk about, and the Zogos will also be an issue. What are we doing about that? How do we rehabilitate these people? How do we reintegrate them into society? What kind of programs can we do for them? Then we project the 2023 elections. The cheering squad will be there. Those numbers that will not change, that will just be, supportive. The use of government funds to support elections. The violation of our election laws that have already been happening, because President Weah is already using government funds to campaign, because it's not programmatic, it's not within the framework of government expenditures that he will say, be putting his name on government project where we're buying vehicles for the town chiefs and stuff. What is the selectivity around that? All of those kind of things, the prosecution of opposition figures, the use of the judicial system to really usurp, democracy, the human rights record of this government. So there's a lot of rich content that we're going to write about in the next book. And we just hope that, people will take the time to read it as well. So, what number, Jamie, number sitting Tradefco Bang. Oh, man. Now, Money is, again, if you share it, you can watch it from the beginning and stuff, but I think we're on our way out now. I think we've exhausted. Yeah, you're right. There's so many different streams we shared. Jerisha Collie? I just only waiting for before you know the book, correct? Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I know Jerusha. We just throw our country away, the way we operate. Look at the ArcelorMittal deal. I mean, look at the different mining. Look how we're giving the Chinese people and even some folks from Ghana and stuff to decimate our country, to exploit our natural resources, and nothing coming back for our people. It's sad. Yeah, JJ Dennis, that's an issue. Those people who became senators under the CPP arrangement, would they, say, oh, it was not legit, so you can't be senator no more? So that's another question that we have to deal with. But we don't know at this point. But thank you, folks, for all those who stay with us all this time. I want to say thank you. We'll be here next week, Friday again, capturing the details of where we are. George and Jurusho, I talked to Josolo. Josolo decided to give me what he wanted to give me. Maybe he didn't give all he didn't want to, because at the time he was probably holding a hope that he would connect back with George Weah, and it's still possible. They have a bond, they had a relationship, and there should be no reason why two people who were friends before can make up. It's possible. Olivia Moore, Lawrence Fala, Robert Kitty, what's up, man? Yeah, long time. So I know Mooney not share anything because I see some more people coming, but Mooney, share for the next show. It'll be next week, Friday. We may also be coming up with something called the ANC Hour. That's a possibility where we focus on the ANC agenda, selling the ANC to the Liberian people, and getting people to understand more things about the intricacies of governance and the expectations on an ANC-led government, what will happen, what will not happen. Tony Brooks, you are so wrong. Go to my page and check my history on talking about rape, talking about issues for women, even women being in political power. It has been an advocacy of mine. So no, I'm very concerned about the issue around Liberian women, the issue around our young girls. I was in River Cess. I give you an example. Some young people came to me. They were like from 12, 13 to like 18, 19 to talk about, they were kickball players. And then somebody asked a question, and then all the girls said, oh, that the only person who know man business. There were like 20 young girls between the age of 12, 13 to 18, 20 of them. And only one of them, they said, was not having sex. It's very disheartening to me. Some of them already have babies. These young people having babies, their body not developed, their body is not ready, and they get affected by something called fistula. It's a disease, or it's a sickness, because their body not prepared, so there are tears and holes and stuff. So we have to protect our women. Let me see the lady's name. Tony Brooks. Yeah, Tony, no, we're very concerned about our Liberian women. They mean a lot, and we really, really wish them the best. I just hope the president can see upon himself to apologize for him talking about them, apologize to Liberian women for his girlfriends or concubines, and the vulgarity they express on social media and the way they go at each other, demonstrating that, again, he won't be paramount, he might have some little control, but he doesn't. And people still bringing question. Was just wondering, was the ANC Standard Bearer appointed or elected? He was elected. He didn't have any competition. It was a white ballot. So he was elected at a convention. At least ANC had election, right? Joseph Boyga just jump on and say he did Standard Bearer for the Unity Party, I guess. Tony, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I thought I didn't know you were not talking to me. But yeah, so we got to see, for example, somebody just say you're stupid. I don't know who they're talking about, but let's assume they're talking to me. So am I supposed to get facts with somebody who called me stupid when I know my own intellectual capability, and not that only I know that, a significant number of other people know it. So when somebody say I'm stupid, it's like water on dog back. It just rolls off. So folks, just in general, we can't be getting angry or vexed when people curse us or insult us. It should not mean that much to you. If you are confident in who you are, you know who you are. Okay, you know your mom, you know your wife, you know your daughter, and somebody just cuss them or say whatever they can. Why should you get upset? Really? Why? Parker Okai, you can still order it by going on Amazon or Walmart. We'll drop the links in there. What's your question, Robert? I guess I missed it. I don't know. Let's write your question again, Robert. Oh, Katie, what's your question? These are the first link didn't go through. There's a shortcut link. Amazon. Yeah, I see your question, you. It's taking a while. Let me go back and see if I see Katie a question. Yeah, there's a part 2 to the book, Prince. I just kind of discussed it. I guess you missed it. Lesson learned from Liberia. My whole life is lessons learned from Liberia. What specific aspect you talking about lessons learned? Flokia, sorry, the book was really backlogged. Lawrence Flokia, the book was backlogged. Hopefully, we'll be getting a faster response on people who are trying to get the book. Let me get the Walmart link. I'll take it to Bitly and shorten it. So be specific with your lesson learned. There's a lot of lesson learned from Liberia in general. So this second link is for Walmart. The book is in Walmart as well. You can check it out. John, thanks for ordering. All the people who said the order, I really appreciate it. Thank you. We just hope that Amazon and others can speed up the Prince. I don't understand how and why. All right, folks. Thank you. It's been really wonderful engaging you. I look forward to next week, Friday. But like I said, we may come up with something with regards to the ANC hour. We'll be pushing the ANC agenda more robustly and in more detailed fashion. That could be a couple of weeks down the road. We are still working with different people to make sure that happens. So thank you for listening. This has been the week in review for this week, ending on this day. Our week ends on Friday, though. So if you're going to make news on Saturday, just expect it to be there next week, Friday. Okay? So thank you. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.